Hey, it's Les from the TV Dudes. This week, I was lucky enough to chat with David Osmond, a scion of the world-famous Osmond family, who has carried on the iconic entertainment legacy with incredible success while overcoming great challenges. David began performing at a young age as part of the Osmond second generation, has also starred in Andrew Lloyd Webber's Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. He's been featured on the Fox show American Idol, and has performed alongside a host of great artists. We talk about all that, plus hosting children's show Wonderama, but mostly we talk about his new album, There's More Where That Came From, which he put together with his group, Osmond Chapman Orchestra. David and Grammy Award-nominated bandleader Caleb Chapman have put together an album full of timeless classics and new songs in a big band style, and it's a lot of fun. The album is out today, and you can go listen to it right now, and I had a great time chatting with David about it all. So here we go.
Les, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Doing great, man. Thank you so much for making time today. I really appreciate it.
No, you're welcome. Thank you guys for the opportunity to share this project with you, and happy to be with you today.
Yeah, I was listening to The Way You Look Tonight, which is a great song to start with. Of course, this is off of, I guess I'd go ahead and say for the folks at home, off of There's More Where That Came From, the upcoming album coming out this Friday from Osmond Chapman Orchestra. That first single, I'm not the first person to tell you this. Your voice is amazing.
Oh my God,
not just
thank you.
The quality of it, but the phrasing, the way you deliver it. I know some of that is, I'm sure, natural, and more of it is learned and worked and skilled, probably than I realize. Can you talk a little bit about growing up in such a musical family? Did that normalize the ability to do this professionally, or did it change it into something where it was more expected?
You know that's an awesome question, and one that I get asked frequently, and it's something I've had to almost analyze over the years and kind of be honest with myself, like how did this happen? How did this whole thing come about? And truthfully, as I look back now in hindsight, there was such a passion and a love for music, and I was so young, and growing up Osmond, I just saw my dad from the earliest age being on stage, singing, performing. He's got screaming audiences. He's on tour buses and planes, and he's doing this thing called showbiz, but it's just normal life for me. You assume every kid's dad does this thing, and we loved the music. We loved the songs and the performance. And I have 7 brothers, no sisters. So it's just a kind of a circus of a house anyway. And I'm number 4 of the 8 boys. So my 3 older brothers and I, we just used to sing along with my dad. We used to watch the old Andy Williams shows and his early performances. And our musical influence was pretty much just what we saw. And we were always surrounded by music, and there was always dancing and singing in the house. My dad saw this natural gravity towards this entertainment, towards music, and he saw this passion for singing. So at a young age, like he did with his brothers, he kind of taught us the same routines. He taught us how to harmonize, how to do 4-part harmony, and to sing and do these fun songs together. I think just as a hobby, he just saw a passion for it, a natural desire to do music. And as we started singing, doing these little performances, and we started to, do little birthday parties and talent shows, and it was just like a novelty act. I was 2 years old when I started singing, but when I was about 4, we started doing shows all the time, not knowing as a business, not knowing we wanted to do it as a career. But as we started to get these opportunities, and we started to do larger television shows, and my dad taught us more routines, and we got these matching outfits, and we were this little barbershop quartet doing the same routines that my dad did, decades earlier. And when it turned into Bob Hope, his people saw us on like a local TV show and said, "We want your boys to come on and be featured in this national television Christmas special, the Bob Hope Christmas special in the 80s. It just kind of started going without any kind of a business plan. It was just something we loved, right? I mean, all of a sudden, Good Morning America's calling and the Today Show and People Magazine, and we start touring and performing. And I'm just a kid. I'm just a baby, so I don't know what's happening.
Yeah,
but as I get older,
yeah,
it was his life. As we got older, we started, we turned from the barbershop quartet, we got into pop music. All this facilitated because of my dad. So I would say it's certainly a huge foot in the door. My dad knew how to do things. He knew how to produce music, how to write songs, and to get with the right people, choreographers, and put a show together. So that happened because of my dad, because of his experience, certainly. But it wasn't an expectancy. In fact, as we started to do these shows and do more performances, it became more difficult. It became tough. And my dad really put us into a position where he sat us down and said, "Listen, you're not going to just do this, halfway. If you're going to do this, you're going to do it right. And it's going to take work. Are you in for it?" And so we worked as kids. When other kids would go out and ride their bikes and play, we were rehearsing 3-4 hours a day. And we'd get up at 5:30 as kids, and we would march. We would learn rhythm. We would dance. We would harmonize and rehearse and practice. And then after school, and we'd come back and rehearse for another 2.5 hours, and put these fine-tuning skills together of entertainment. But we loved it. And as we got older, we evolved into a boy band, and we were called the Osmond Boys, and then we were the Osmond second generation. We signed with Curb Records and Epic Sony in Europe, and we used to tour all over the world and singing in different languages and had awesome experiences. As I got older, I as the lead singer of this group, I got opportunities to go do other shows. I got pulled in and was approached and hired as the lead in an Andrew Lloyd Webber play of Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor of the Dreamcoat. And I actually ended up getting hired to replace my Uncle Donnie, who was the lead in Joseph, and played that role for like 5 years. Started doing my own pop music. And so I kind of kept in the industry as an individual artist, as my brothers kind of went and did their own things. And I guess you could say went and got real jobs. Maybe they wised up. And I just loved music, was passionate about it, and still am. And so to come full circle now to this project, this is really kind of going back to my roots. When I was that little kid and my dad was teaching us these routines, and he saw the love of music, the very first cassette tape I ever owned was Frank Sinatra. And my dad got it for me and was kind of showing me this music. And it was this American songbook material that was new to me and was fresh. And as a young kid, boy, I just loved it. And then as I got older, Harry Connick Jr., I wanted to be Harry Connick Jr. Like, I just love this big band sound. Now to have the opportunity to do that with my buddy Caleb Chapman in a way that is not just, subpar. It's with the real McCoy, real deal individuals of arrangements, fresh arrangements, great musicianship. I am just on cloud nine about this project and so anxious to share it with so many others, knowing that I come from a very different background as a singer, music theater and pop. I have those elements in my voice. So it's not like a pure jazz singer. I recognize that. But I think there's something cool about molding and melding the pop side, as a singer, the music theater side, with the traditional jazz and some of these cool arrangements, doing what we call the new American songbook, not just fresh arrangements on the old classics like The Way You Look Tonight, Bobby Darin, Frank Sinatra stuff.
You've got a Bruno Mars song in here.
Bruno Mars, Yeah, it's Johnny Cash.
Can you talk about co-writing with Roger Brown for the originals that are on?
Yeah, you bet. Roger, so talented. And as we connected with our label, Club 44 Records in Nashville, and many other people, his name was thrown out as a suggestion, and some of his songs we had listened to and fell in love with. And we just really gelled as you sit down in a writing creative scenario, which I've done many times. You kind of get a vibe as to what's going to come through the process. And sitting down with Roger was seamless. It was easy. And he's such a talented songwriter. It's so cool. These songs came out fast and quick. Sitting down with him, he flew out to Salt Lake City, sat down with him in the studio, and we just started dreaming and scheming, just coming up with these ideas. And what we wanted to do is make sure that whatever we did was true to of course, the American songbook vibe, but that it really felt a part of the existing material we already were doing and the arrangements, like The Way You Look Tonight. We wanted our songs to feel like, they're naturally, you didn't know if it was an original song. What is this? Is this one of the classic songs? And it's funny because we've had several people that have listened to it. The feedback has been, yeah, I when I listen to I Need a Real Good Thing, like, or I listened to There's More Where That Came From. Is that an Elvis song? Like, where did that come from? Like, that was a really good testament towards the material. I think that it stands apart. And honestly, when we do in live performing concert venues, the I Need a Real Good Thing in a Real Bad Way, that song is one of the crowd pleasers. It's like a call in action. People are up dancing, they're moving, they're singing, and they just love this vibe. And so the original songs are getting just as much of a positive feedback response as the other known material. So that's really cool. We're excited about that.
I think that was a big moment for me in my own personal musical education, even just as a listener, when I started to realize that there was a universality to these songs or to songwriting, and that some of the new punk bands or new harder rock bands that I was listening to, thinking, that this was some kind of brand new music, was really, basically just a 50s Buddy Holly song with a whole lot of fuzz on it or something like that. And realizing that the classics hold up, and that these song formats work for a reason. And then kind of also thinking about the way Sinatra or even actors of the time worked. I mean, you'd do a matinee, run across the street, shoot a commercial, do a radio spot, come back, do an evening, like whatever kept you working, There wasn't a...
It's right, man. You got to make hay while the sun shines.
And so when it came to picking these songs, I looked down the list and thought, man, that is just a great mix that kind of gets that across. Because the first time I heard Bruno Mars, I honestly thought it could have been a Police song I'd missed from 20 years ago.
Oh, cool.
And
nice,
and so when I have, when I hear new songs that I go, I'm going to lose an argument with a friend of mine that is a new song. I know it. I love those moments. Those are great. You always know you've hit on something with a song. I feel like when it sounds like, when you do that Paul McCartney thing of bothering the rest of the Beatles with, did I dream this, or am I stealing this? I want to say he dreamed yesterday and then bugged the rest of the band for like a month. Of like, no, I've heard this somewhere. Shut up, you made it up. You record it. Was there
all right.
Was there a favorite song?
Honestly,
oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're absolutely right, and that's awesome feedback. Thank you for that compliment. What we wanted to do as well is not, as a band, the Osmond Chapman Orchestra. We don't want to be a cover band. We want to be we want to be known also as an original artist band. So that's why we wanted to have the original music that we write. This is our voice. If we're going to go do a Johnny Cash song, it's been done a million times. How can we do it to where it's a fresh new take on it? So we bumped up the BPMs, the beats per minute, made it fast, and we just made it smoking hot. And these players, the fact that they can play that and hit those arrangements, it is unbelievable. And so we have our own fresh take on a song you've probably heard a million times, but maybe not this way. And that's what we wanted to do, is have everything to be original. So all the arrangements completely original, which is awesome.
The band y'all put together, it is really great. You've got a couple of folks from Dave Matthews Band, Carl Hunter from Big Bad Voodoo Daddy. I mean, I knew it was going to be a top-notch backing band. Can you talk a little bit about getting in the studio and kind of getting it together, getting all on the same page?
Yeah, we went to, a studio actually here in Utah, and it was a big sound recording space where we're all able to be in the same room. which
Oh, that's great.
which creates its own sound. So usually sometimes you can sparse it out into sections, and then you have these ISO booths, and you can get a great sound. But when you're together and you're performing, there's something magical about that. So all these recordings were done really just in the takes of in the same room together, and you can feel that musical magic. And then of course on the vocals, I do have to isolate those so it doesn't bleed into the mic. So I would do that in a separate room, but right next to them through the glass. And it was just awesome. These kids, and I say kids, they're in their early 20s, mid 20s, are the musicians that are playing on this. They're trained musicians, but they're also trained performers, which is awesome. So when we do our live shows, not only they are just top-notch musician, they can get up and they can move. They don't just sit behind the band fronts. They dance, they move, they perform. And that's what we love. It's got a lot of youthful energy in this band. For such a cliche like American Song with the big band, you might think it's just, oh, that's an older thing. But honestly, I swear, the audience is 12 to 92. It's just got that vibe that resonates with so many different people. And the recording process was great. It was done, before a lot of the crazy COVID stuff that was going on. We actually were going to try and release a lot of this music last year, right? But it was scheduled to be released in the heat of everything that was going on. So we had to kind of just hold it at bay. And we're so excited now that it is the right time to be able to release this project and get it out there. And I'm stoked. We're actually releasing it this week. We're going to be down at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena on Friday. We're going to be performing with some incredible people that are coming in actually to sit in with the band. We've got Rashawn Ross from Dave Matthews Band, Carl Hunter, like you mentioned, Big Bad Voodoo Daddy. Sal Cracciolo from Tower of Power is sitting in.
Oh, wow.
Gordon Goodwin from the Big Fat Band is sitting in, and with many of his players. I mean, it's going to be insane. And we get to share the stage for this particular album release party with Earth, Wind, and Fire is performing on Friday as well on the same stage with us. So it's going to be just this insane experience I'm looking forward to as we get back to the live performance. And music's been gone for a while, and I think the audiences are just begging to have an entertainment experience. And we're excited to be able to share the big band performance with everybody. There's nothing like it.
Well, I hope everybody checks out the album, which will be out the same day as this interview, so folks can go and give it a listen. They're fabulous renditions. The new ones are great. I think everybody should check it out.
Thank you, man.
And I can't thank you enough for making the time. I really appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much for your time, and thanks for supporting the album. We're excited about it, and really thankful for the opportunity to come on your show and talk a little bit more about it.
Yeah. Good luck with the show.
You know what's cool is I was going to say, being the TV dudes with what you guys do, and I grew up performing in so many different aspects of not just music theater and then tours and live shows, but I also host a kids TV show right now.
Yes.
And I have for the last 5 years. And so I appreciate that medium of entertainment as well. And I'm grateful for what you guys are doing with this podcast.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to be with you.
I was thinking, you're bringing a lot of really great players, and I'm sure all the audiences at the orchestra shows are going to have a great time, but you know how to work a tough room. I cannot imagine keeping the energy right for Wonderama and making sure that those run smooth. That show looks so fun. If I had that, you've gotten to have Mark Summers on Wonderama.
Oh yeah, Mark
before.
Summers, yeah.
So that was the Wonderama I grew up with. Was getting to watch Double Dare and such. But yeah, watching the real Wonderama and going, oh man, I'd have loved this.
You know what? Oh my gosh! You know what's cool is Dana Calderwood is our director, and he is the guy that directed all of the Double Dares back in the day. He's the same guy.
Oh wow!
So we have that
vibe.
Double
That
Dare
makes a lot
vibe.
of sense. Yeah,
doesn't it? It's really cool.
That makes a lot of sense.
Oh my gosh! And the whole team of of our staff. I mean, we're all just big kids. So we just dream and have a fun time just coming up with ideas for new games and ways to make a big mess and blow something up. And the kids just have a blast. It's like a locomotive, the show. It moves. It's fast and furious. And this year, going back to film our 6th season, I think, will be in July. We're going to be actually filming from Times Square this time. We'll be up actually on the street doing a lot of the live performances. So it's going to be really cool.
I think the most fun thing in the reel that I saw from it was really the audience shots of the kids. There's sometimes on kid shows where, you know, I got to go to the Ice Capades and such when I was a kid. I didn't always look happy if the camera dropped on me, I'm sure. But the kids in these shots look absolutely ecstatic. They're watching like a mashup of Bill Nye and Magic Tricks and Bozo the Clown and Double Dare. I can't even imagine. It looks absolutely awesome. Getting to be the adult at the center of it, I'm sure, is a blast.
Oh, I'm just a big 6-year-old dude. I really am. I feel kind of like the big brother of these kids, and I just get to watch them experience cool things. And at the end of the show, every show I say, hey, never forget that you should never lose your sense of wonder, you know, and that's what's really cool about the show is to see these kids showcase their talents and their abilities to their peers and to see them just like that spark come alive and have them have a platform to be able to, you know, have a great time in entertainment, whether they're dancers, singers, or kid inventors, or even kid like chefs that are like just came off of the Top Chef TV show or something like that to share something with their peers. It's awesome. They really sell the show themselves. So we just create the platform, we create the vehicle, and they take it and run with it.
That's so cool. Thanks so much for talking to me about all of this today. Can't wait for everybody to hear the album and for more folks to get to check all your work out.
Thanks, man. All the best to you. God bless you.
TV Dudes is an independently run podcast out of Austin, Texas. We are exclusively listener supported. If you'd like to help us out, go to patreon.com/TVDudes.
You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TV Dudes. All the music for our show is done by our friend and original TV Dude, Gregory J. Amani Smith.
To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com. I'm Randy Lander.
I'm Les Weiler.
And I'm Kyle Scott.
Thanks for listening.